All right, I will try to get a video in here of just the one strain this time, the Platinum Red Mosaic Big Ear Guppies, which, as I mentioned before, is a strain I got probably about a year ago now, and I got them from Indonesia, had them imported them in. This is one of the see, not the original male, but the first batch of fry. And you can see the platinum bit at the front of the head just behind the eye. And after that we have the big pec fins, nice black pec fins, and red and black, which is a mosaic pattern in the tail. So what I've been doing with these is you've noticed, I'm sure, that there's one really big one right there, and like I said, that's from the prior batch, the first batch actually. And the reason for that, which I'll show in the next tank, is these are about 3 months old, and for all accounts and purposes, it pretty much looks like I have a tank of all females. But that's not the case. They're very late to develop. And you can see right there, there's a male just beginning to develop. What happens with these, about 3 months of age, start to get some of the red, black, and a little bit of white coloration in the tail. The dorsal is the last thing that fills in with the red color. And the gonopodium starts to grow more or less 2 to 3 months. So it's a very late developing strain as opposed to most other kinds of guppies I've raised. So what I've been doing is I leave one older male in, sometimes two, with a recent batch of young. And the reason for that is just in case the batch of males doesn't look good, or there's something wrong, I at least retain the line by having the larger, older male that I already know has the characteristics that I want, hitting those females. So, and then after a while, what I'll do is I'll pull that male out and put him in with the next generation that comes up. So it's my ideas on what I've heard, read, seen about these fish. They're really a striking fish. It's not something you could show in an IFGA show if that's what you were interested in. The tails, it gets big, but it doesn't get long enough to compete, and the dorsal is not really long enough. It's not the right shape, and the pec fins, I don't think there's any points for that. So basically it's just a beautiful fish that you could enjoy, which is kind of part of the hobby. Sell them, trade them, whatever. They are something you could show in general shows, like the IGEES, I think, has some shows still. And you could enter them in multiple classes in some of these other shows, local shows, things like that. But anyhow, as you can see, the other males in here are just starting to color up. These fish are primarily 4 months old, except for the two large ones. And I'm just trying to not screw this line up because it's really beautiful. Really enjoying what I've gotten out of these fish. They wasn't expecting some of them to get this big, and I figure if I can use this male as long as possible to pass those genes along to the other fish, that'll be great. So this one is just starting to get the a little tough to see with the light. Let me see if I can get another one. The dorsal on this one is white. It will change to an orangish red like this one. This one here, I think you can, oh, except she's in the way. You can kind of see that the dorsal is starting to change colors, and that's kind of the goal. is to get them to all look alike. But if I film them in another month, you'll see that all the males will have a dorsal that matches the tail. So like I said, this tank is 3 months old. So some of these that look like females will end up being males. Obviously not the ones with the gravid spots, but there are some of them in here that don't have a gravid spot and will end up developing gonopodium and the tail colors and dorsal colors. So I got 2 more tanks of them I can show. This tank is starting to crap out on me. They're old and they're starting to fall apart, so I'm gonna just let them live out their life, and then I'll take the tank down and move some of these younger ones into it. So I'll get to the other 2 tanks and wrap things up. All right, this is one of the other tanks of the Platinum Red Mosaic Big Ear Guppies. A couple of the females in here are the long fin variety, which you can see by the longer pointed anal fin. That's really the only fin that gets longer on them. Now I don't have any males in this tank because this female's been having babies, and this last batch she had was really small. She never, well, not never, but she didn't really recover much. She's starting to get a little filled out again now. So if she does have one more batch of fry, I'll probably move one of the other males in. This is another tank of them that's about 3.5 months old, and this is a good example. This male, you can see the dorsal is just starting to fill in with the red. Now this is a long fin one, so he's got the long gonopodium, which probably picks up dirt from the bottom of the tank like a Dyson vac, but he's really kind of useless as far as being a breeder. So the pec fins take a little bit of a time to enlarge, and what I try to do is keep a few of the long fin females with the regular fin females, because I don't want to screw this line up, and I want to keep it the way I received it, which was a regular fin male, a regular fin female, and a long fin female and a long fin male. So this female is definitely hit, and she will probably have babies within probably within about a week, because she's really filling out. I haven't fed these fish for about probably about 4 hours. So this male is just starting to get the coloration. You can see it's a long fin one, so not too much good is going to be happening there. But they are beautiful. And hopefully, if all goes well, I will expand this out to a couple of more tanks, because I'd like to go back to having about 6 tanks of these. Right now I have 5, because I'd like to sell a few more trios if the weather ever straightens out. It's supposed to be 99 degrees here tomorrow, and 100 on Saturday, and 100 on Sunday. So unless I want to ship out fried fish, there ain't much you can do. So if you have any questions about these, leave them in the comments or email me. But I really can't complain about them. The only other question that you might have is, if you noticed, some of the big ear strains, the female will have a really extremely beautiful tail, about the same color as the males. This line, which is the only thing I've seen different than, I think they were called Platinum Red Dragons, or Platinum Red Double Ears, is that these females have like a bluish pattern in the tail, and they get like a light whitish blue dorsal. So if you buy the fish from anybody and they're Platinum Red Mosaic Big Ear Guppies, you do want to make sure you get the right females. Some people that sell them have done things that aren't the greatest, like feed them color enhancing foods and stuff, so you may see different color female in the second and third batch, once you start getting fry from them. And if that happens, then you bought some fish that aren't going to breed true, is the bottom line. But really love this line. And if you have any questions, feel free. I appreciate you people that follow my videos. I'm almost surprised anybody pays attention to what I say, but I definitely appreciate it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.